Right now, somewhere in the world, a text sits unsent on a man's phone. He typed it twice, backspace 3 times, stared at the 3 dots as you were typing, and then put the phone face down like it had teeth. Not because he doesn't care, not because he's trying to play games, but because something inside him, old, quiet, and powerful, told him to step back. If you have ever felt someone retreat just when things were getting good, this is for you. If you're a man who's done that retreating and couldn't quite explain why, not even to yourself, this is for you too. Let me tell you a story. There's a guy we'll call Eli. Not a grand hero, just a decent man with a careful heart. He meets someone who surprises him. She laughs in a way that makes him forget the noise of everything else. Conversation flows. There's a lightness he didn't know he missed. On their 3rd date, they talk until the restaurant flickers the lights and the staff stacks chairs. Walking to the car, he feels that rare click, like a lock turning with the right key. And that's when it starts. Not a dramatic explosion, not a fight, just a subtle slowing. He texts, but later. He calls, but shorter. He smiles, but with his shoulders half turned. If you watch closely, you can see it. The invisible step back, the retreat to higher ground, the fortress doors closing almost politely. If you asked Eli why, he might say he's busy at work. He might say he's trying not to rush. He might shrug, and part of him will believe that. But the deeper truth often lives in places we don't check when the lights are on. So let's walk there together, calmly, honestly, without blaming anyone. Why do men pull away even when they care? Reason 1, the weight of expectation. When a man feels something real, the stakes jump. Suddenly it's not just a nice person or fun conversation, it's the possibility of being seen, really seen. And being seen is a kind of exposure. If you've spent years being told that strength equals self-containment, exposure can feel like failure. He feels the rising expectation, his own and yours. He hears the quiet chorus, don't mess this up, don't drop the ball, don't say the wrong thing, don't need too much, don't be too much. The more he likes you, the louder it gets. And for many men, the fast way to silence that chorus is distance. Pull back, breathe, regroup. Reason 2, the old file cabinet. Every one of us keeps a mental file cabinet of past moments, rejection, embarrassment, the memory of caring more and being punished for it. You don't even have to open the drawer. The body remembers for you. You feel it in your chest before your mind tells a story. If the old file reads, when I leaned in, I got hurt, the body will tug the handbrake the moment you start leaning again. No meeting required, no logic necessary, just a tug, a pause, a step back. Reason 3, the burden of performance. A lot of men were raised with a silent contract. Provide, protect, perform. Be useful or be invisible. Be impressive or be quiet. Care quietly, succeed loudly. If he hasn't yet proven his value to himself most of all, love can feel like a test he's not prepared for. If money is tight, if the job feels shaky, if he's wrestling with purpose, intimacy can feel like a spotlight on everything unfinished. Pulling away isn't a comment on you, it's a nervous system trying to keep him from being seen as not enough. Reason 4, the mystery of intimacy. Intimacy isn't just romance, it's closeness without armour. And armour is heavy, yes, but it's also familiar. Taking it off is disorienting. You think you're undressing for someone else. Surprise, you're undressing in front of yourself. A lot of men learn to feel powerful by being needed, not by being known. When being known begins, the old blueprint doesn't fit. He pulls back to look for the new one. If you recognise any of this, you might be tempted to fix it, to nudge, to prompt, to educate, to prove safety. Sometimes that helps, often it doesn't. Because pulling away is not always a problem to solve. It's a weather pattern to understand. You can't stop the rain by shouting at the clouds, but you can bring an umbrella, wait it out, and know the sun returns. So what do you do, whether you're the one pulling away or the one watching it happen? Let's speak to the men first. If you've stepped back from someone you care about, just notice what story your body tells when things get close, not the polished narrative. I'm busy. I don't want to rush. The deeper one. Does closeness feel like a test? Does it feel like a trap? Does it feel like a debt you'll be asked to pay? Does it feel like a loss of control? Here's the quiet move that changes everything. Name the weather. Tell her, sometimes when I really like someone, I get in my head and I slow down. It's not you. I'm learning to meet this differently. That's not a speech. It's a lantern. You're not promising perfection. You're promising honesty. Most people can hold a pause. What they can't hold is confusion. Confusion is where we do desperate things, where we fill silence with worst-case scenarios. A simple lantern changes the room. And then choose a small consistent signal. A morning text that says, "Thinking of you, busy day ahead. I'll call after 9. A call at the time you said you would, not grand gestures, not a dozen roses, one trustworthy breadcrumb trail back to you. Reliability is a romance the internet forgets to mention. Now to the ones watching someone you care about step back. First, check the difference between distance and disinterest. They are not the same. Disinterest is a closed door. Distance is a partially open one with a tired hinge. Before you push, listen. Write this down somewhere private if it helps. I do not have to audition for care. If being with someone makes you feel like you're constantly trying to win the role, spending your days reading messages like tea leaves, performing calmness while you panic, you're starving. And starving people learn to live on crumbs. That is not love, that's survival. You have a right to ask for clarity. Not a courtroom, not a cross-examination, just clarity. Try this. I like what we have. I've noticed you sometimes step back when we get close. I don't need you to be perfect. I do need to know whether we're both walking forward. If he's a good man in a dark room, that sentence is a hand he can hold. You also have a right to protect your heart while someone else figures it out. That isn't punishment, it's stewardship. The plant still needs watering even if the gardener is late. Now some practical things both of you can do when distance shows up. First, slow honesty beats fast reassurance. Everything's fine is a fast reassurance. It works like a bandage, it looks helpful, but sometimes it just hides the cut. Slow honesty sounds like, I like you. I'm scared of liking you. I want to keep going and I might move unevenly. It's not sexy in a movie sense, it's adult. Second, shift from demands to agreements. Demands sound like, you need to call me more. Agreements sound like, can we check in every evening even if it's short? It helps me feel connected. Demands invite resistance. Agreements invite partnership. Demands keep score. Agreements make a plan. Third, name the season. Some weeks are heavy, deadlines, family stuff, money, stress. If distance is seasonal, naming the season reduces the sting. This week is rough. I'm quieter when I'm overloaded. Can we plan for a Saturday afternoon together so we have an anchor? When the future has a date, the present feels safer. Fourth, dignity on both sides. If someone needs space, dignity says, I can give you that without punishing you for being human. If someone gives you space, dignity says, I won't abuse it by disappearing. Space is healthy, disappearance is neglect. The difference is communication. Fifth, stop using silence as a test. We all do this sometimes. If they care, they'll notice. If they notice, they'll chase. That's not intimacy, that's theatre. The nervous system doesn't understand tests. It understands kindness and pattern. Say what you need. Ask what they need. Save the tests for school. Let's go back to Eli. After a week of half texts and quiet, he sits in his truck outside the gym and stares through the windshield while the wipers drag rain back and forth. He scrolls up the thread. He sees the lightness in their early messages, then the drag, the space between replies stretching like a rubber band. He texts, I've been weird. When I like someone, I get cautious. I want to keep this going. Can we plan Thursday? If I go quiet, it's me in my head, not you. He puts the phone down. He starts the truck. The wipers keep time. The world does not explode. He does not dissolve. He just tells the truth. She reads it. She exhales a breath she didn't know she was holding. She replies, Thank you for saying that. Thursday works. I don't need you perfect. I need you present. Present is a humble word. It doesn't sell corns and courses. It doesn't trend. But present is how love happens on a Tuesday. Not in a makeover montage. Not in a grand speech in the rain. In small presence. In someone saying, here I am. Messy and trying. And no, it's not always going to work. Sometimes distance is disinterest in polite clothing. Sometimes a person is not ready. And love is not a rehab centre. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop auditioning for a role that doesn't exist. But here's the deeper hope. Many men who pull away are not running from you. They're running from the story they were given about what it means to be a man. A story where love equals weakness, where silence equals strength, where asking for what you need is losing the game. When someone shows them there's a different story, that strength and softness can share a house, they don't change overnight, but they change. If you're a man listening, maybe you need to hear this. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the text you send anyway. It's the call you make when you'd rather hide in work. It's the sentence that starts with, I don't know how to say this, and ends with, but I want to try. And if you're the one who's been waiting on the other side of silence, maybe you need to hear this. You're not hard to love. You're not asking too much when you ask for clarity, for reciprocity, for simple presence. You're asking for the most ordinary sacred thing, two people who meet each other in the middle and choose again and again. So how do we meet in that middle? First, by trading precision for curiosity. Precision asks, what exactly are you feeling? Why? Explain it completely. Curiosity asks, what's it like in there for you? Right now. One sounds like an exam, the other sounds like a couch. Second, by learning the micro yes. A micro yes is a tiny commitment you can keep. I'll text you after the meeting. I'll set the reservation and send the screenshot. I'll be there at 7. Micro yeses are bricks. Build with enough of them and you have a road. Third, by honouring the nervous system. When you feel the surge, panic, shame, the urge to shut down, put a hand on your chest and count your breaths. Say out loud, this is a body of feeling, not a prophecy. You're not obligated to obey every alarm. Some alarms were installed by people who loved you the best they could and still got it wrong. Fourth, by choosing language that doesn't wound. Replace you never with I feel. Replace you should with can we. Replace what's wrong with you with what's hard for you right now. Language builds rooms. Choose rooms you both can stand in. Fifth, by remembering that love has a middle speed. Not 0, not 100, not nobody or everything. Middle speed is steady. It's dates on the calendar. It's phone calls that don't perform, they connect. It's the end of the night text that says, home safest, today was good. When men learn middle speed, pulling away becomes less necessary. When women feel middle speed, anxiety quiets. Middle speed heals what intensity breaks. There's one more piece we don't talk about enough. Self-respect as a love language. Self-respect isn't a threat. It's an anchor. It's what lets you say, I care about you and I care about me too. I can stay while you figure out your pace if you can meet me with honesty. If not, I'll go kindly. That sentence scares fear and attracts courage. Eli shows up Thursday with flowers that look like he Googled not cheesy flowers. He fumbles a joke. He admits he overthinks. He says it out loud. I want this. I'm clumsy at wanting. She smiles because clumsy is human and human is trustworthy. They eat. They talk about little things first, the neighbour's loud dog, the barista who writes inspirational quotes on cups. The nervous system likes little things. It relaxes with repetition. Toward the end, they talk about the bigger thing, the past, the old file cabinet, the test he feels he has to pass. She tells him the only test is presence. He tells her he's learning. They don't solve love in one dinner. They start it the way love actually starts, imperfectly, with two people bringing more of themselves to the table than they did last time. If you're beginning something like that now, or hoping to, here's a simple pact you can borrow. I won't punish you for being scared. You won't punish me for needing clarity. We'll say the thing. We'll choose the middle speed, and we'll build with micro yeses. That pact is not dramatic. It will never go viral, but it might make a home where two nervous systems can rest, and that's more romantic than any grand gesture on a borrowed balcony. Why do men pull away even when they care? Because caring wakes old alarms, because expectation feels heavy, because the story we were given about strength was too small for our hearts, because closeness requires a language some of us weren't taught. Why do men come back with steadier steps? Because someone, maybe you, lights the room with clarity and calm, because he learns that presence is allowed, because he decides that the risk of being known is worth the life on the other side of the wall. So here's the quiet invitation to men and to anyone who loves them. Send the text you're afraid to send. Ask the question you're afraid to ask. Name the weather. Offer a micro yes. Choose the middle speed. Keep your dignity and keep your heart open at the same time. That's not a trick. That's the whole art. And if this met you where you are, if you felt yourself in Eli or in the person waiting on the other side of Eli's silence, then take one more small step. Tell someone you trust what you're learning about yourself, not the slogan, the learning. Say, when I care, I get scared. When I get scared, I slow down. I want to do that differently. Let them witness your practice. Let them see your new pace. Maybe tonight a text will not sit unsent. Maybe it will go simple, honest, ordinary. I like this. I'm a little clumsy at liking. Can we keep going? That's enough. That has always been enough.